All right, guys, we are back here on our workbench talking a little bit about tuning our amplifier for our 2007 and up 3 Series UF110 subwoofer system. We've already made these connections. You've watched the first video showing how we did that. We're going to talk a little bit about connecting our remote turn-on trigger lead for your system. And in fact, let me remove this because that might be a little confusing for you. This is how your amplifier will be preliminarily excuse me, set. We have to actually trick the amplifier into thinking there's a remote turn-on lead because there is not one in your trunk area. And so to prevent us from having to run up to the front of the car, we use this little device here, which is a combination of a line output converter as well as a trigger generator. So let's talk about how we're going to pull this off. So before we tune the amplifier, we're going to make a couple connections. So the first thing we're going to do, you see this little device we've given you 9 to 10 feet of wire. Everybody puts this in a different place. You can cut this wire to length. I've just gone ahead and wire tied it all up. You could do the same. I recommend cutting it to length. So it's really in relation to where this is placed to your amplifier. So keep it clean. That's really the only key. By and large, this is always going to be hiding somewhere, either behind a trunk panel, under a trunk panel, etc. So it's always going to look pretty clean. So let's kind of get things started. We've given you plenty of wire to work with, so just to keep things clean, cut a little bit of it off. And we're going to take our blue wire first. We're going to strip a little bit of insulation back, like so. I like to fold it over on itself to give a little bit more of a contact area here in the amplifier. And I come up from the bottom to keep it clean. Insert it in, and we take our screwdriver. Again, it's a Phillips head. We tighten it down like so. And now, you're probably wondering, well, what about the red and the black? Well, guess what? We're going to match them to the red and the black. So again, what we're going to actually do, we're going to strip that back a little bit. We want a little bit more wire than usual exposed. We'll pull out our black wire. And again, you'll be making these connections right off the bat. So, and we're going to take this black wire. We're just going to twist it around the larger wire, like so. And then we insert it in to our amplifier. And tighten it down nice and secure. And we're going to do the same thing with our 12-volt or battery cable. So pull it out, strip a little bit of wire, come in from the bottom to make it pretty. Like so, right back in where we came from, tighten it down, like so, and I'm going to actually reach over here. Give me just a moment, guys. I do apologize. I'm going to grab a wire tie. Forgot to get one. And the key here is to get these guys, we want to tie these wires together, because we want to keep them all secure. So I give them maybe 2 to 3 inches off the amplifier, like so. And that way we can keep these wires loose. We give them a little play so they're not being pulled tight. There's the train coming by on schedule. Let's move this out of the way. And that's how we connect our, now of course these connections we go over in our PDF guides that you download off of the site. These are our input signals, so we've got right and left input signals, and we go over which wires you connect these wires to in our PDF guides, so check the PDF guides for that info. And now we're going to talk a little bit about tuning. We're going to start off talking about tuning for the standard audio equipped cars. That means your car does not have the Logic 7. And you'll know that based on all of the literature we've got on our website, as well as your own general knowledge about your car. So again, this first tuning guide is going to be relative to those of us without Logic 7 systems. And the second tuning guide we're going to talk about, I'm going to kind of split it here in the middle, is for those of us with the Logic 7 listen to me, system in our 3 Series. So that being said, this is standard audio equipped vehicles. This is how we're going to tune it. We're going to start with our crossover section, which is our output and our crossover frequency. And your amplifier is going to come untuned, so we're going to have to make all adjustments. So using a jeweler's screwdriver and very little pressure, we don't need to force this. we're going to click one down to high, one down to low. That's where we want it set. We want this on a low pass filter. We want to set it at approximately 80 hertz. We want to split the difference between 55 and 110 hertz. So we want to call it about 80 on the low pass. We want to take our bass boost, and because this woofer can take some serious abuse, let's have a little fun with it. Maybe even take our bass boost up. Like if we call this 0 and this 15, I would call this 7.5, so let's call this 4.5 to 5, maybe even a little more because we can take it. Now our gain, you can see there's a little arrow on top of each dial, the right and the left. You want to adjust these incrementally but identically. So if we take one dial straight out, we want to take the other dial straight out. Don't worry about it being precision, it will adjust internally. Lastly, we've got a few adjustments on our line output converter. These usually come set wide open. You can see in there, there's little arrows. Again, just like these gains, we want to make sure they're set in unison. I set everything in the middle because you can always adjust from there. So again, very little force is required. Be very gentle with these adjustments. Again, make sure they're largely the same. Slight variances are okay. So with these guys adjusted and these guys loosely adjusted, at this point we can go ahead and fire up the system. Nothing's going to get damaged, and we can make adjustments from there. You will make adjustments, most likely on your bass boost and most likely on your gains. The key is listening for distortion. When you hear distortion, you need to back something off. Ordinarily, I'd start with the bass boost because this is boosting frequencies at 45 hertz, and that colors a lot of distortion. So I would focus on this. The output switch won't be touched, and the crossover frequency likely won't be. Again, you can play with it anywhere between 55 and 110. Your ears will tell you when you found the sweet spot. There will be audible differences, so keep an eye out for it. But this will keep us safe the way it's set preliminarily. We're going to stop there, guys, because otherwise it gets too complicated and you put too much into it when there doesn't need to be. That's going to stop our non-Logic 7 tuning. Let's go ahead and shift over to the Logic 7 tuning guide. Those of you that have the Logic 7 system, and again, that's identifiable by the presence of a center channel and mid-ranges in your rear doors, or in the case of coupes, rear deck. Going to be a little bit different. You've watched the rest of the guide, and that's okay. We're going to make some changes, though. Again, we're getting our signal in the Logic 7 cars after the factory amplifier. So it's already been processed. So we don't need to double process the signal. So we're going to take the output switch to full, because we want the full range of signal coming from the factory amplifier to find its way into our amplifier, and we don't want to color it. So with this set to full, the crossover frequency is irrelevant. You can put it wherever you want. It doesn't matter. The crossover is turned off, which is what we want. Our bass boost, again, we're going to start maybe, straight up and down, maybe just a couple dB boost. We don't need a lot because we've already got a really hot signal coming into the car. Adjustments will be made after we initially listen. Our gains, again, we've made these adjustments on the line output converter. We've got this set approximately in the middle. We're being very gentle. We don't use a lot of pressure with this. If you do, you will break it, so be very cautious when doing that. We've got this set about in the middle. Our gains, I think I had these a little hot for the non-Logic 7 cars. The gains may be a quarter of the way up. Again, this is just to begin. You will make adjustments. This just lets us get in the car and set a baseline, and you can make adjustments from there. We're trying to keep things safe. So for those of us with our Logic 7 systems, this is kind of how we will preliminarily set the amplifier. Once it's in the car, you'll make your changes. You're going to use your ears as the guide. They will tell you when it's tuned properly. Nobody else will, only your ears. So if you're having this professionally installed, take a listen. I mean, once everything is physically installed, sit in the car with your installer and have a chat about where you'd like things and how the adjustment should be made. And if you guys have any questions beyond that, of course, feel free to call us, drop us a line, or check us out on Facebook. That's it, guys. Thanks so much for your purchase, and enjoy the new system, and we will see you very soon.